Yep, going on another walk late in the evening. It's been kind of a weird summer so far, especially for southern Minnesota. But I hear that's been kind of a, I guess, global thing actually, so I don't feel it's so alone. Kind of with the state of the world and where it's at. Now in this video I wanted to discuss some things and maybe send it to a few people whose intellect I admire on Facebook and stuff. The other site that I like to browse and post frequently, blog or whatever you want to call it. That and a few other things. And I'm just going to say I'm just another guy in the manosphere. That's what I call it now, the manosphere. Groups where men kind of align and discuss issues such as, feminism and how it's affected their lives negatively and what can be done about it. And there's a various number of groups in that. MGTOW, the MRAs, the incels, red pills, black pills. There's all sorts of, you can kind of take your pick, really. Pick the group you most align with and start something. Or try to start something. The way Facebook has been going, and even YouTube, I can see how people are going to be banned. I've been banned. I've been banned. I had my last video taken off of here, so. But anyways, in this video, I just kind of wanted to discuss modern day women and tie that into kind of Bill Cosby and what's going on with him, or what has gone on with him. He's recently been released, but his name has taken and reputation have taken quite a battering from, what I consider our modern day feminist movement. With that being said, I think of in my recent past and up till very recently, women that I knew, especially ones that were single mothers and whatnot, used to have this line that I would kind of, fall for. And it is a line and a pitch that they hope will get them their sympathizers and their allies. And that's that the guy was a deadbeat. Or that he was no good. Baby daddy ain't no good. My son's father's no good. And since I'm mostly aligned, I know more white women than any other group. That is who I'm referring to in this. In one respect, I say, well, that might have been true. That maybe was true that the guy was a deadbeat, and that he was a man of low moral worth, or whatever you want to call it. But don't expect me to buy the fact that you didn't know that kind of all along, or that he somehow changed, because sometimes they'll say that too. They'll say that he changed, and no, I don't buy that. I think they wanted him to change. See, I think they wanted him to become a responsible father, after they slept with him, let him go in them raw with no protection and spread his seed, I think then they all of a sudden hoped that he was going to change. And were grossly disappointed to find out that he didn't. He was still the same. Fatherhood didn't change him at all. And now they're on this pedestal of where now they think all men are this way, and that's where feminism has taken us to this point. And you see how it's worked out when you now see transgenders winning Miss USA titles and that kind of shit. I mean, you just go, wow, you know. Second and third wave feminism just kind of really, all it did was it's gone to destroy identity altogether. Male female identity almost altogether, which in that case is hurting everybody. And how I'm going to tie that into Bill Cosby is now, you know, you see Bill Cosby. I'm going to try to successfully do it anyway. You see Bill Cosby, who had quite a reputation. In fact, I myself as a kid loved the Cosby Show and watched it frequently. Dr. Huxtable. He was quite a lovable, jolly old character. You know, how could you not, you know? And, well, I mean, as it is, poor old Bill went down, you know, on lieu of these allegations. Which, you know, again, I'm not going to excuse his behavior. But we know that a lot of guys in his position kind of do end up living kind of alternate lives, having this life as a playboy, so to speak. And these women kind of knew they should have known that he wasn't just taking them up to chit-chat or find out about their their farm they grew up in as a little girl or whatnot. So it was bad judgment on their behalf. And then, of course, you know, you think of that other Bill who has been greatly celebrated by the mainstream media, old Bill Clinton. It's almost widely known. It's widely known by many who've done any kind of research, like myself, that, well, he's got a sexual history that would make the Marquis de Sade blush. So, and yet he, like I said, he's walking around without even a care or a worry about being exposed or taken down, like Cosby has. And if Cosby did it, you know, I will say, hey, fair is fair. He should go down, and I think he did his time, and he's definitely taken the reputation hit. And being that he's as old as he is, I mean, he's got to be in his 80s, I think, now. Well, it'd take a lot of Viagra for him to ever do anything again to another woman. He's definitely not a threat to women, so, at this point. So, you know, it is what it is. But isn't it kind of interesting, and I'm just going to say this, it's kind of interesting that recently, right before, or not too long before, he'd made a couple of speeches on talk shows where he was pretty harsh and even maybe rather insulting towards his own people, you know, the African American, black, Negro community, whatever you want to call them. You know, he was pretty hard on their young men, talking about how they didn't talk right and how they should be getting it together and being more of an example and stop being victims, you know, kind of that sort of thing. So I'm convinced that what he said kind of went against the grain and he had to be taken down for it. And again, that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about it feeds these feminists and single mothers the notion that there are no good men out there, and again, continuing the cycle of man hate, especially towards the heterosexual male that we're seeing today in our society, where you can't express any kind of opinion that says anything about women taking responsibility. It's always the man's fault. And while some of that may be true, I'm not going to say it's not all true. Some of it is true. It still makes our existence very difficult. And with that being said, I hope whoever's watching gets something out of this. And yeah, I guess that's really all I have. Take care.